Hey guys, it's Joe from DIY Cold Plunge. In this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the all-in-one Ice Smith chiller. Now, full disclosure right off the bat, I got this chilling unit for free because of my private Facebook group where I teach people how to build a DIY cold plunge that competes with the very expensive commercial options out there. And with managing a group that large, there's a lot of moderation that's involved. So early on, icebath.cc got on my radar somehow. I can't remember if it was a member that posted, whatever it was, got on my radar. I saw that they used images from Ice Barrel, from Noble, and some other like commercial plunge companies out there that I knew wasn't their product. And so with that, post moderation button gets turned on. That sparked just some conversation between me and the sales reps that represent that company. There's a ton of companies out there that are offering these all-in-one units just like this with photoshopped logos, photoshopped product images. So I just wanted to make sure that this company was legit before I allowed any posts in my group. So long story short, I have it in my garage right now running my 150-gallon stock tank, and I will give you my initial thoughts on what I think. I am by no means an expert on this chilling unit. So the chiller came in this like treasure chest looking box, and it even had a little lock that you had to undo. There was no sign of any damage or anything like that upon delivery, so no issues there. So once I opened it up, the first thing that I noticed was that the chiller itself was kind of wet. There were water droplets in the plastic wrapped parts that it got sent with. And I'm assuming this is because they test their units before they ship them out, which isn't an issue. I just expected everything to be dry. It comes packaged with the all-in-one, plus some hoses and some spare parts and a packing list. So after a quick inspection and making sure that everything looked okay, I went to work getting it ready to cool my 150-gallon stock tank. And the first thing that I did was take the quick connection off of the inlet into the chiller, mainly because the tubing or hose that they sent smelled really bad like plastic. I just didn't want to use it. The nice thing was that they sent an extra barbed fitting in the parts or accessories bag, and so that was an easy fix. After I got that done, it was time to pop a filter in and get this thing running. So it ships with 2 water filters, which is great, except for they're rated for 1 micron. And for a cold plunge setup, you want something in the 20 micron range. Otherwise, these filters are just going to get clogged up right away and produce a lot of wear and tear on your system. And so when putting the filter in, I came to my first, not issue, but just thing that I wish would be different. You have to lean the chiller up to take off the filter housing. So when you're plumbing your system, if you want something kind of hard lined in or in an enclosure, that's going to be something that you need to think about. Minor inconvenience when I build my 3.0 cold plunge with this chiller, I'll be building a platform up so I can take that filter housing off without issue. And now with all of that squared away, it was time to hook it up to my tub. I used the drain plug on the stock tank to hook into the inlet on the chiller, and then I just sent hose over the top into the tank for the return. And this is where I had my biggest issue and fear come to realization. I filled my tank up all the way that I normally would, which is well above the height of the chiller, the inlet, the outlet, everything, and I turned the chiller on, heard a hum, but nothing happened. So I jump on Facebook and reach out to the sales rep, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? They sent me a startup video, which I'll show you here. And basically in this video, as long as the water line is above the inlet on the chilling unit, it should have water drip out and through. Now what I saw was water filled up into the filter housing, but it wouldn't drip out of the outlet. And so long story short, after going back and forth, trying everything that they recommended, nothing worked. And I had to literally suck air through the hose like a straw or a siphon to get the pump to prime. That being said, I did get it squared away after siphoning water through, and it has worked well ever since. So once I got it running, there's a switch on the side that's kind of the power switch. It lights up when you turn it on, it shuts off when you turn it off, and that clearly turned on the pump and display. What I didn't know at the time was how this thing worked. How do I get ozone to work? I was pretty sure that that second switch on the side was for ozone, but when I flipped the switch, the light didn't turn on like it did on the power switch. So again, I jumped on Facebook, tried to get clarity on that. And so from what I understand after talking through this is that when the pump is on and going, the UV system is on. When the chiller kicks on or the compressor kicks on, that's when ozone turns on. So those two are tied together. So your ozone won't run unless your system is actively being cooled. I was surprised at how loud this chiller was. I will be doing, later on, I'll be doing kind of a side-by-side sound test for this chiller, my Penguin, and my Active Aqua. just to kind of give you guys a breakdown of what that sounds like. But overall, I was surprised at how loud this chilling unit was. The next thing was to dive into the control panel and figure that out. And I'm still kind of completely lost on it. This isn't something that I want to spend a lot of time trying to program and figure out, but it seems like there's an option to run just the pump without the chilling unit. There is kind of an option to set like some timing and whatnot. I haven't figured it out. I have been able to set it to 3 degrees Celsius and just leave it there, which leads me to kind of another thing. I operate in Fahrenheit. I haven't figured out a way to switch it over from Celsius to Fahrenheit, despite asking that question on Facebook as well. Long story short, it has worked the way I need it to. It's kept the water at 3 degrees Celsius the entire time that I've had it hooked up. I haven't seen any crazy hot days. I haven't had to replace the filter yet. I have unplugged it, plugged it back in just to make sure that that pump stays primed. So now that my personal experience is out of the way, let's dig into their website and questions from the Facebook group. Icebath.cc, again, one of the issues early on that I had was that they used a ton of images from other brands and companies that I follow and have purchased from. So that was a red flag for me there. So once they updated that, yes, they are in fact a real company. One of the questions that I get is shipping time. Now on their site, it says 5 to 6 weeks by sea, 2 to 3 weeks by air. In talking to their sales rep on my Facebook page, I was supposed to have this chilling unit within 20 days. That was on February 16th. I got the unit on April 6th. So that was longer than the 20 days that they said. I have no idea if that's because I was getting this unit for free or how they treat their customers and their shipping times there. So that might be something to think about. The next questions that I get are about specs. And so like as you can see here, the water pump is built in along with the filter, UV, ozone, quick connections, and the water pipes. The unit that I got was this IB series, so it only has refrigeration, so I wasn't able to test a unit with heat. The temperature ranges from 3 to 45 degrees Celsius. Again, I couldn't figure out how to switch that to Fahrenheit. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you could figure it out. The warranty is spelled out as a 1-year warranty with free spare parts and remote video assistance. As I shared earlier, you can see what that video assistance might look like, the setup video, and everything like that. Can it be used outdoors? That's a big question that I get all the time in the Facebook group. The answer is yes, but cover it with a canopy. I always recommend enclosing expensive mechanical appliances like this, but that being said, it does have this Ipx4 Protection, which is essentially like splashing from any and all directions. But again, it's always just a good idea to protect this stuff more than the unit itself provides. There's other things that you can do, like remote use, Wi-Fi, all of that kind of stuff. I don't find the need for that. I don't nerd out on any of that stuff. I just want to set my cold plunge to what I want to plunge at and go from there, so I can't speak to any of this. The pump flow rate is 25 liters a minute. I believe that turns into like 300 and some gallons per hour. You can check on that, but I've had no issues with the water pump. The UV works when the water pump is going, and then the ozone again is synchronized with the compressor. Other than that, the main questions that I get are around, is the savings worth the lack of like reputation or the work involved in doing a DIY cold plunge? And so if you're willing to kind of learn from what I went through there, this chiller could be a really cool option for you. My main concerns with it are always going to be support. Despite the 1-year warranty, free parts, video assistance, as you can see, there's just some barriers that exist there. Whereas if you piece this thing together yourself, if your chiller goes bad, your chiller can be under warranty. If your pump goes out, you can replace your pump or you can service those things. With this all-in-one, I have no idea if something goes bad, what that process looks like to fix it. And so with that, I don't know, I hope that helps anybody who had questions on this chiller. If you have any more, feel free to drop them in the comments, jump in the Facebook group, join the conversation there. Happy to dive in and answer any and all questions that you guys have about it and just give my honest feedback on it. So thanks for checking out this video, and we'll see you soon.